Okay, here we are back in Monster Hunter World. So, where we last left off, we did the Baroth, and while I was off camera, I went ahead and did a bunch of other stuff. I have some new equipment if you actually want to see. It is far from ideal, but it's going to get me by. The objective this time is going to be Ian, so I'm packing a Hard Bone Lance 1. This is basically the strongest bone lance I can make at the moment. It's stronger than my Iron one, so no reason not to take this. Now, if you're wondering what the trade-off is, the bones generally have less sharpness, more power, while the iron has more sharpness, less power. So, it depends on how important sharpness is to you. Since I have to do a lot of sharpening anyway, since it's early game, bone is just fine. Packing Hunter's headgear, bone mail. Just because I don't have a better chest piece, this does give me attack up, which is why I'm holding on to it. I should also mention for the stuff we're doing, you want to make sure you aren't really too weak to fire. If you notice, I have 2 points of resistance. It's the bottom right corner in case you're wondering. 6 versus water, then I'm weak to lightning and ice, and then we're a little resistant to dragon. And then I have this Ghillie Mantle. This is pretty important for trying to do the egg missions. I just did that, and this thing is a lifesaver, man. Anyway, so with that out of the way, I will go ahead and pull up the mission.
Hey, partner!
Post new quest. This is an optional one we're going to do because I think I have to explore the ravine or something at the moment. So Royal Relocation. I don't know where she's going to start here, so I'm just going to play it safe and start in the southwest camp. I don't know what the vouchers do, so let's use one. What's the worst that can happen, right? Now, before we head off, I want to eat. I have some new things here. Since I have 4 meats unlocked, I can get attack up M with this. This gives me plus 20 max health, plus 25 stamina. It gives me Feline Groomer, which I believe is a sharpening skill. I don't actually know how you see what it is exactly. And then Feline Riser. That one, I think, extends invincibility when you're getting up or something like that. And then Feline Lander is pretty helpful. That allows you to jump without breaking eggs. So if you want to do the egg missions, try to find that one. Anyway, we will take the meat platter, I mean, and I will show this just because some of you guys may like the felines in action. And in case you're wondering, yes, it's a bit of a Monster Hunter tradition where the hunters eat as much as the characters do in, say, Dragon Ball Z or a lot of other anime. So that would... I don't even want to try to imagine how many people that would actually feed, and yes, we just downed the whole thing. So we actually got Feline Riser. That's fine. So before we head out, the objective is to deal with Ian. That's the best way to describe it. So if you're not told to outright capture them, you are allowed to take them dead or alive. As such, I am going to do a capture. It's just I have to empty out my inventory a bit since I stocked up. Generally, I try to do this off camera, but yeah, I wasn't really thinking that it was this full. Oops. Deposit the honey. I actually have a nice little repository there. And now, if you don't actually know how to do some of this stuff, I can make a Mega Nutrient. I'm kind of curious what that'll make exactly. So let's make 2 of those, which we'll use to make 1 of these, which we'll use to make this. Okay, Max Potion automatically gives you maximum health regardless of what you eat. So depending on what you actually want to take before you go, bringing one of these along can be a very wise idea. By the way, I would never recommend making First Aid Medicine Plus. You do not actually get to keep this if you do. Meanwhile, you actually do get to keep the Mega Potion, so yeah. But the thing we're looking for... Could take a fart. Immunizer. Gonna make a couple catalysts. We'll start to fill this out a little bit. Ah, the Adamant Pill. So this will give you a surge of defense, but in previous games it only lasted 1 minute. I don't know how long it's gonna last in this game. And then if you want to make the Might Pill, here you go. So then these are how you augment the by various barrel bombs. This will make you a barrel bomb plus. Before you had to combine it, the large barrel bomb with like a bomb arowana or something like that. Huh. Actually, that might... No? I don't know. I'm not going to worry about that. Poison smoke bomb is pretty helpful if you want to farm insects. Poison, tinged, and drugged meat is pretty helpful for dealing with Devil Joe, but we are here for the traps. So if you have some ivy and some spider webs, I try to pick up as many of these as I can whenever I go out, because you need them to make nets. And then you can combine the net with a trap tool to make a pitfall trap, or a trap tool with a thunderbug to make a shock trap. So I'm going to make an extra shock trap. And if you want to make a trank bomb, you have to combine sleep herb with parashroom. These are pretty easy to come by, and by the time you're actually doing this quest, your farm is going to be up and running. It's just not necessarily going to be that efficient yet. So you want to make a few tranks, and then yada yada yada. So then we're going to go to our inventory, and we're actually going to take out those things we just made. So shock trap, and here are my tranks. I'm going to take the full 8, even though it shouldn't really take that. And now when you go up against Ian, you always want to make sure that you are packing antidotes, because she can poison you. I haven't actually fought her in this game to see. That could have changed, it's just, in the past, you always wanted to carry this with you. So, without further ado, off we go. Let's catch a ride. Breaking monster parts. Focusing monster parts allows you to break them. There are certain things you can gain from doing that. I can show you the eco book after this to give you specifics. So this dash step and guard dash is how lancers will stick close to things, just wail on them. This is the water monster of the game. It's really, really obnoxious. And... oh, okay, it was right here. So they even give you antidotes to give you a little bit of warning on what you're getting yourself into. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a stone. I said I'm going to grab a stone. Actually, we're going to offload the stone. I forgot that you can get the slingers right here. So, you need to roam around a little bit to try to find clues to tell you where exactly she is. In case you're wondering, Ian is always female. That is the female of the species. The male is the los. And there are many different subspecies to these as well. You have the pink Ian and the azure los, as well as the silver los and the gold Ian. Just know that some of these are bad news. Now, I don't know if I actually have those birds. So, let's grab... Don't scare them off. No! Oh well. So, one clue if you actually want to find her fast, you can look at your map. If there's a spot where you can find wyvern eggs, that's where you'll find her. So they're recommending going this way. I forgot how I cling to those. So if you need to get your cactus, here you go. You can probably actually climb up here, so it's not a big deal. There is a mission for the canteen where you have to get 20 cacti. Hey, there's the water monster. I'm gonna look to try to sneak past him. Nope. Actually, it hasn't seen me yet. I'm not here. Move along. Wasn't sure if there was anything over there, but I guess not. Oh well. Because I know, actually it is this map where they hide stuff in the corners. What do we have here? Tough skin fruit. This you can get research points for. Pretty handy if you want to farm stuff. Don't remember what the latchberries are for offhand. So yeah, hunting her is not necessary. Just screw with the nest. Thought I heard her wings flapping. Screw it. Okay, let's go out here and see if Blos is around. What's that? Now, some of these are carcasses that you can examine for clues. There she is. Pretty much what I was talking about. If you want to get her attention, screw with her nest. Oh, come on. Let's just mark her on the map. Be a little careful out here because Diablos appears. It's pretty nasty. It's another one of the monsters from Monster Hunter 1. I believe it's also a female with the Monoblos being the male, but I don't remember them as much. They're not really as well known as... There's a Baroth here too. As Ian and Los. So I probably should have just grabbed one of her eggs to get her to stick around, but no, I had to do this the hard way. Over here, ugly. Now be careful because her roar can daze you, stun you, whatever you want to call it. You don't have any good earplugs at this stage of the game. Now, one other thing to worry about is when she goes airborne, she does something called wind shear. And it's one of the reasons why some people absolutely hate to fight these two. Her and Los. Wind shear will basically push you back and make it very difficult to approach. Now, you need to be careful when you're under her because her poison gland is on her tail. So right there, I think she did try to poison me. She'll basically do a backflip and hit you with the underside of her tail. That's how she poisons. And if you cut her tail off, she loses that ability. That was the poison move. Right there. And she's not above spamming it. Now, in case you're wondering, she's weak to Electric and Dragon, I believe, assuming her weaknesses haven't changed from previous games in the series. That's the poison move once again. Now, I'm going to try to mount her because this is going to be a poison move. Okay, there it goes. Let's pop a Mega Potion. You know know what? Let's use the whetstone real quick while we have an opportunity. I think I neglected to mention, yes, she does breathe fire. She is a dragon. Now, there are several regions on her body that break. Head, wings, I believe the back, the tail comes off. I put up my shield, but... So yeah, if I had my Thunder Lance now, this wouldn't be as bad. Now, your incentive to aiming for her head, even with a bladed weapon, is you can get her rare drop from breaking her head. Right there, I did the counter. Right there, I tried to do it, but it just went through. She could kill me here. Oh, I should also mention, in case you're wondering how to tell when she's enraged, just look at her mouth. When flames spew out like that, that's when she's doing it. Now, she and Los do have a triple fireball. Hers is not all in the same direction. Los will fire his in a row. Didn't actually mean to take the tail off there because I think I knocked her down, but it was enough to finish off the tail. Right there, that was another piece. Do not forget to carve the tail. Ah, crud. No! I did not mean to carve that. I got the spike, that's the common item, I think. Good, I kinda wanted her to buzz off so I could sharpen and stuff. So one thing that kind of sucks is since she can fly, she will easily put distance between you and her. Like, one thing that sucks about the lack of loading screens is before I always imagined the loading screens were like all this empty area that you just traverse off screen because it's negative to the gameplay experience. Yeah, that's not a thing anymore though. So this is my first time fighting her. As such, I do not know what happens with her mount stuff. Okay, holding on here. Hook. And here's the finishing thrust. So if you look on her shoulder blade area, you'll see fur. That tells you that her armor plating there is broken, so I'm going to spend the rest of my time willing on her head. And if you notice, some of the horn area on her face is gone now. That tells you the head's broken. Now, when she's tired, she will trip when she tries to run, and when she breathes fire like that, she is a sitting duck for you. And now, if you can knock an enemy out of the monster out of the air like that, they have to spend time on the ground flailing around like this. So one thing I didn't talk about in the previous video was staggering. Every piece of the monster, like every area that has its own hit points, has thresholds. And once you hit a certain threshold, they go down. It's just a lot nastier if they go down from the air. And now the same thing applies if you go ahead and get a status effect to land while they're flying. That will bring them down, they have to flail, and then I think they get back up, and then they're exposed to the status effect or something. Like, right here, my weapon is pretty dull. Okay, she's piecing out. So let's try this. Vigor Wasp delivery, please. And now she went this way. And now, don't forget I said I was going to try to capture her to demonstrate. History-wise, in case you're wondering, Ian made her debut in Monster Hunter 1 way back when. This is Monster Hunter 5. She is one of the 3 monsters, I believe, that have been in every game. The 3 being Ian, Los, and Blos, Diablos. Otherwise, everyone else comes and goes. Wakey wakey! Go to sleep. We're indecisive like that. So we want to go back to headquarters, and that's one of the 5 flying wyvern quests that I have to do. So you can see it's not too bad, and I didn't think I'd be fighting her this quickly, gameplay-wise. So I actually probably could do that before the quest expires. And now, the incentive to capturing is the likelihood of getting rare drops is greater than normal. Her rare drop right now is called the Ray-Thian, or Rathian plate, that's what it is. So we'll see if we get it. We have to go through the list, but we got a scale. Sells for 460 zenny, but I'm not really pressed for money at the moment. We got a flame sack, which is very nice. This you need for fire elemental weapons. A shell, generally used for armor. Another flame sack, always good to get. Here's her rare drop, the plate. Another flame sack, another flame sack, another flame sack. Armor Sphere Plus, I need this to upgrade my stuff. Monster Bone M, Earth Crystal, Monster Bone, Thunderbug, Nitro Shroom, Thunderbug, Shell, Spike, Wing Talon, Scale, Scale. So because of the voucher I got double Zenny, I guess. And then that's my only Ian so far. New Arena Quest, new items at the Botanical Research Center. And I'll go ahead and show that off in case you're wondering how you get items without having to farm endlessly. Not really seeing anything important here. So I have to show you the ecology stuff and the garden, or farm, or whatever you want to call it. Just be aware it's severely underdeveloped right now because I'm still low rank. I want to get it upgraded at least once before I go into multiplayer, just because otherwise I'll be pressed for items and that will limit my effectiveness.
Hey partner, let's go on an expedition out in the Great Ravine. I'll tag along.
Holy crap, she reminds me of Navi when she does that. So, unload the stuff we picked up. So I think I only lost 1 Mega Potion for all that. But anyway, talk to the ecology researcher here for various information. He's thinking about Zora Magdaros. I hate that mission. So, Zora's been added. Research levels, Ian should be fairly low unless you get a big bonus from capturing her. I don't know the specifics on the scout fly either, guidance to next track or guidance to location. I don't know if... I'm assuming that's something that you get when you're actually on the field. It's not something you'll have all the time, even though some sort of equivalent of Psychoserum would be nice. But anyway, you go to your field guide. I was looking at Anjanath. So, in case you're wondering, this will tell you what all breaks, what all comes off. If it says carved, that means it has to actually be severed, as in the tail. And if you notice, for Anjanath here, if you bust his face or cut off his tail, you have a chance of getting the plate. That's his rare drop. If you look on the right side, top right corner under carves or even rewards, it tells you the rarity of stuff. The lower the frequency number, the less likely you are to get it. So yes, I do have one of his stuff. And now the other one we're here for is Ian. And it doesn't actually give the numbers for her just yet, because I don't know why it doesn't, but you can get the plate from her head and her tail. If you notice, the tail carve is just normally a spike. And they don't even have the plate listed, which is kind of messed up. But anyway, here's the physiology stuff. It tells you how easy it is to do different things. You can see that her wings are fairly resilient, as is her tail. And basically, no matter what you're wielding, you want to aim for her head, because that's her weakest spot. So they have 3 classes there. They have the icon for the greatsword, representing everything with a blade. So that's your sword and shield, your dual swords, your lance, your gun lance, everything. Actually, I don't know how gun lance fits exactly, if it's considered bladed or a projectile. But anyway, that's my lance. That's why I try to aim for her head when she gives me the opportunity. Hammer is also very effective. That's your stun weapon. It's the hammer, the hunting horn. The greatsword also can count towards that if you have it fully charged, I think, and then the shield bash on the sword and shield. There's a couple different ways to actually do blunt damage. And then the last one is piercing, which is anything ranged, bow, gun, or bow guns, and I don't know how the gun lance fits into stuff. But here they mention severable. Anyway, that's it for that one. Next order of business is the garden. So this is the guy that gave me that quest as a result.
Yes, hello.
Okay, he's not even mentioning that, yeah, you now can grow more stuff.
Oh, man.
So you want to go to collect harvest to get your stuff. I was growing adamant seeds. You can use fertilizer to make stuff grow a little bit better. It's up to you. For the next set of adamant seeds, I have half the time already elapsed, but if you want to grow stuff, here you go. So stuff like Nullberry, Might Seed, Adamant Seed need 2 quests. That's what the 2 boxes are for. Herb, Antidote Herb, Fire Herb, and so on only need 1. But this is how you get large quantities of stuff, so you don't have to screw around with going out in the field and collecting stuff 2 at a time. So you can grow Sleep Herb en masse, then you can use this to make all sorts of sleep stuff, poisons and the like. If you're going to use ranged weapons, you will need these for your coatings or your bullets. It's a lot cheaper to make the stuff than it is to grow them. Or to buy them, I mean. Because this is growing them. I forgot what the smoke note is for exactly, but... So by doing that mission, I can now grow Mandragora, required for max potion, so very, very handy. Nitro Shroom, Parashroom, Toadstool. This is for paralyzed stuff, poison stuff. Excite Shroom is for Farcasters, in case you're wondering. That's an item that you use and it automatically brings you back to camp. It's growing honey earlier. You can grow Thunderbugs here, because before I think you had to buy them. And they mention you use this for thunder ammo or shock traps. So if you do this way, then you can just buy trap tools and make all the traps you need. God bugs, this is necessary to... I think for life powder or something. It's a healing item for online. Problem is, these take a long time. 3 quests. Bait bugs, spider webs. So you can get these here. As I was showing you earlier, you need these for pitfall traps. I don't know what the dragon strike is for. It says wyvern ammo, but not 100%. Bomb berries for cluster bombs. These were fun for a Ray-Thian back in Monster Hunter Tri. Don't know how effective they are against all the dragons here. So you know what, we'll keep growing with adamant seeds. So, I can't really think if there's anything else. We can go to the smithy and show you her stuff, which should now appear here because I have the various pieces of her. Now, her stuff is more, well, historically it's always been more towards poison rather than fire. It was Los that would be considered fire, and she'd be a poison elemental. And Los can poison you, he's much nastier when he does it.
How's your gear holding up?
So, this is the one lance that I was using before, the Kulu lance. My goal is to turn it into the Thunder Lance, but I have to fight Tobi Kadachi, which is an annoying little speedster type. Once I do that, I have a Thunder weapon finally. And in case you're wondering, you generally do want to have multiple weapons to use as the situation arises if you're going to go for the lance route. If you're going to go for greatsword or hammer or stuff like that, you'll probably want maybe 2 or 3, and that's it. But for sword and shield, probably dual blades, lances, you'll want elemental or status effects if you're going to use those, because that's just how they work. And in case you're curious about the hardbone lance, here you go. I could have turned it into whatever this is if I find the materials, but when you have the question marks, that means it's not that material is not accessible to you at the time of you looking here. If I messed around with the water guy that you saw, then I could get the aqua horn. I have to get the aqua sac off him, and the boulder bone you get from examining skeletons. There you get. There's his name, Giuratotus or something like that. I don't really care for a lot of the new names, to be honest. So I was kind of hoping you could see her stuff with poison. Can we see it here? Okay, they're using the Puke stuff. Oh well. So yes, I do have a sword and shield just because I may use this if I run into something that's extremely fast and annoying. That way I can stick to it better. And lastly, armor. So here's Ian. This is her helmet. I need webbing that you get from breaking her wings. I have enough flame sacks and everything else. If I were to get this, I get plus 15 max health. So botanist from her chest piece. I'm probably not going to get that, to be honest. Fan braces makes it easier for you to poison stuff. Coil makes you resistant to poison. And then recovery up just makes your healing items more potent. So if you don't know how status effects work, if you played Cosmic Star Heroing, it is the exact same. They basically took their system from this. So, to give you an example, we'll go over to the weapon tree real fast, and we'll use this as an example. So, we have a poison weapon right here. It says Poison 210. So, each monster has hit points for the various status effects also, and as these proc, they will eat away at the hit points of the monster, so this will take off 210 every time it contacts. And once you finally hit 0 for that, it will apply the status effect. It will persist for a period of times based off how resistant the monster is to it. And then the status effect goes off. And now once the status effect wears off, they get hit points again for the status effect, and it's more than it started out as. And you can try to apply it again. There were certain sets that you could use in previous Monster Hunter games. The Giganox set for Tri, and I forgot what it was in 4. That made it a lot easier for you to apply status effects. And if you're wondering what the significance of it is, if you can paralyze the really mobile guys like Barioth, Tigrex, even Giganox to a certain degree, I guess, you can cut loose on them, and sometimes you can almost end the fight just with one paralysis if you have strong weapons and guys who know what they're doing. So that's the whole incentive status effects. And now, sleep, in case you're wondering, the first hit you make upon waking the monster up does double damage. That's where the whole sleep bomb strategy comes into play, where you put stuff to sleep, you stack bombs around it, and then you set off the bombs to deal bonus damage. So I'll look into making a status effect set, but it's probably going to be a while because of how they changed the system. But otherwise, that should bring you up to speed on how things are, and we are going to make progress little by little until we finally are able to take multiplayer on. So, without further ado, I'm the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.